serious? Are you serious? Folks, even the national media now is beginning to stop and use words like harbinger, apocalyptic events. It's because of biblical proportions. You want to know why they're doing it? Well, first of all, they're watching our YouTube videos, mine and others that are doing Bible prophecy. And they're also seeing the signs of the times. And they know that they're saying, are these guys right? Is it in the Word of God? Yes, it is.
Think about today. The crisis in Syria may be more than just a current foreign policy problem, with some seeing signs of biblical prophecies of the apocalypse in the events that are unfolding overseas. Passages in the Old Testament even make reference to Damascus falling into ruin, sparking worldwide conflict that some say leads to the coming of the Messiah. Joel?
This just in, the serious stuff is way old. I mean Old Testament old. That's how old I'm talking about. Don't laugh. Some biblical scholars say it's all there in black and white, like this spooky passage from Isaiah 17 about Syria itself. Behold, Damascus is about to be removed from being a city and will become a fallen ruin. That's a couple of thousand years ago. Another passage warns of growing unrest in Egypt and the rise of a fierce king. Still, are any of these writings presaging events today or merely incidents that already happened centuries ago? After all, Damascus has been overrun countless times, little more than years after these writings, by, in this case, the Assyrians back in 732 BC.
NASA have given us some amazing images, and they've discovered there's actually an enormous dark hole over our sun. Corey Powell's editor at large, Discover Magazine, here to look at these images. Nice to see you, Corey.
Yeah.
What is this?
Weather map on the sun. You'll notice part of the sun is missing. So this is a picture of the sun in ultraviolet rays. What you're seeing is this is 3.5 million degree plasma erupting from the surface of the sun. This part that's missing, the reason it's dark, is that whole chunk of the sun basically ripped off, blew out, and is coming our way at about 2 million miles an hour.
Our way.
Our way.
That doesn't sound good.
The Obama administration is openly escalating its campaign against private gun ownership and shaking up the top ranks of the military command structure. But is it also preparing to make war on the American population? According to a person identified as a former senior military official, the answer to that shocking question is yes. World-renowned educator and human rights activist Jim Garrow says that the source is a man regarded as one of America's foremost military heroes. He told him that President Obama is using a new litmus test for determining who will stay and who must go among top-ranked military leaders. That test is whether they will fire on U.S. citizens or not.
This is Dabu7 with some breaking and rather disturbing news. Considering the fact that they're saying this is a record number 7th general that has been removed by the Obama administration. And the most recent that you're seeing here is Michael Carey. He was the second in command above our military arsenal, our nuclear arsenal here in this country. Some of these guys had some of the highest clearances and had power over the most sensitive nuclear weapons in this country.
DHS supplier provides shooting targets of American gun owners. Paul Joseph Watson has this shocking story about how Law Enforcement Targets Incorporated is producing cardboard cutouts of, quote, non-traditional threats. Of course, this is on the heels of the federal government purchasing in excess of 2 billion bullets for non-law enforcement, non-lethal agencies. What the hell is going on? They're producing targets targets that say do not hesitate, of children, of pregnant women, of elderly men, in summary, of society's most vulnerable and typically most innocent citizens. You just cannot believe these cutouts, but they produce them, and you've really got to ask why, on the heels of Homeland Security and other agencies preparing to deal with the American people, openly stating they consider them to be potential extremists and the enemies in the event of an economic or civil unrest event, anything really they can use to justify a total, literal occupation of America through Homeland Security related agencies. Now let's roll some of those incredible cardboard cutouts, again, that they say are going to be used by law enforcement who need to get over their hesitation factor for enemies they may encounter, quote, for the first time. And the obvious question is, why is there such a demand for these items, which again show nothing other than old ladies? There's a child with a gun, maybe 6 or 7 years old. There's a pregnant woman photographed in a nursery who's the target. Now, why is the officer there with the drawn gun in the nursery in the first place? Does he have a warrant? Has there been due process? Why does he consider this pregnant woman to be the enemy? Why are they planning to take down vulnerable and ordinary Americans? This is really bizarre, and it really should strike a nerve. Something unsettling is happening. This is on the heels of more and more gun confiscation, which we've heard again and again from sheriff, law enforcement, and from Americans in general that they won't put up with, they won't tolerate with, they won't cooperate with.
The U.S. Department of Homeland Security, along with the U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement Office, have placed a large and rather interesting order. They've ordered 450 million rounds of ammunition to be made and delivered to them over the next 5 years. Now, the company Alliant Tech Systems, or ATK, was awarded the contract to manufacture 40 caliber ammunition high-performance bullets. Apparently, these bullets, quote, provide optimum penetration for terminal performance. This refers to the way the tip of the bullet passes through barriers and expands, all the while holding its jacket in the toughest conditions. All right, so this is interesting because this is not the Pentagon making the order for the military. It's DHS and ICE. And to give you a little perspective here, there are only about 311 million people living in the entire country. So it begs the question, why such a massive order, 450 million bullets? David Seaman is a journalist and host of the DL Show. He's in our Miami studios, and I'm hoping he might be able to give us a little perspective on this. David, why does the DHS need 450 million hollow point bullets?
Hi, Christine. Well, the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, just to be clear with your viewers, consists of the TSA, the Transportation Security Administration, and Immigration Services, among other divisions. So, exactly, this is not the U.S. military. This is a domestic law enforcement agency, and the TSA are basically glorified bag screeners and airport screeners. That was their original congressional mandate, was to screen passengers before they get on an airplane. So the question really is, why do they need 450 million rounds of ammunition? And to be fair, some people online who don't want to believe what's going on have said that this is just going to be used for target practice, or also it could be that the government is simply stockpiling ammunition because they don't want to get into a situation where there's an ammo shortage and our law enforcement officers don't have any ammunition. And those are both fair points, but that kind of ammo that they purchased from ATK, hollow point ammunition, as you had explained, it's designed to, tear through human flesh and then expand. It's designed to kill people. This is
in the house. There's one child in the house and one is playing outside. Officer, there's one child.
Why are you guys not coming out? Why are you not coming out?
Because we don't live in a police state, sir. Martial law has not been established in this country.
Okay, can you do us a favor? All get down on your ground. Get down on the ground. Put your hands behind your back. We're gonna kick the door.
He can't record if his hands are behind his back. We need documentation of this violation of their civil rights.
Stay away from the door, sir.
He's got his hand up. You're gonna kick my door. You kicked my door down. You kicked my door down.
Get on the ground.
You kicked my door down.
Yes, we did. Get on the ground.
No, you have no right to be in here. You have no right to be in here. You have no right to be here. You have no right to be in here. Do not touch her. You are assaulting her.
There we see what has become all too familiar sight.
The police using quote-unquote non-lethal force to intimidate and punish people.
Good morning, everybody. At midnight last night, for the first time in 17 years, the Republicans in Congress chose to shut down the federal government.
This is not one nation under God. It never was. Had it been, it would not have been. No. It would not have been. The Constitution would not have been written by Freemasons. They go against God.
That means that Americans have no idea how much debt their government is going to rack up between now and February 7th, 2014, when the limits are supposed to go back into place, and they are obviously going to have to be raised. February 7th come, and they could be like, boom, it's now 21 trillion. There is no dollar amount set for the debt that the government can accumulate between now and then. Folks, this is a fraud, and it was a 100% setup. I hope you see it for what it is.
Obamacare may soon be knocking at your door. Literally, a brand new federal program will spend $250 million, $224 million taxpayer dollars to send government home inspectors to your house, saying the program will help at-risk kids. So is Obamacare trumping your right to privacy, snooping on you and your family? Stuart Varney says yes, it sounds like it.
Yes, it is. This is a new opportunity for the government to snoop on you. This is a greater opportunity for an intrusion directly into your home and the way you raise your children.
Explain what the home snooper is going to do.
Okay, you can knock on the door. If you, ding dong, here we are, unannounced. a random visit if you have certain risk factors associated with your home.
All right, I'll be at home. You be the Obama snooper. What are you going to ask me?
Good morning, Mr. What's your name again?
Ducey.
Good morning, Mr.
I've been on
Ducey.
TV for 20 years.
That's right, right. Morning, Mr. Ducey. I understand that you use tobacco in your house and you've got young children in your house. May I come in and take a look around? Because your child is at risk. Good morning, Mr. Ducey. I believe that you are a gun owner, registered or otherwise. I'd like to come in and check out the security arrangements for your children in your house. And by the way, taxpayers are going to pay for this intrusion into your home and your privacy and how you raise your children.
You know, my first inclination would be to answer none of your damn business. But the government doesn't take that for an answer, do they?
No, it does not, because you have placed your children at risk. Therefore, you are subject to a random, unannounced inspection of your home by the Obamacare people.
Okay, so that information, whether there's a smoker in the house or you own a gun, that's going to now go into a federal database, right?
That is correct, yes, along with a lot of other data about you and your family, and you now have this opportunity for intrusion direct into your privacy. Look, to me, this is the exact opposite of what America stands for. Surely America is individual liberty and freedom, not the intrusion by the government knocking on your door wanting to inspect your property. That's a big deal.
That is outrageous.
It is outrageous.
To track down smokers and gun owners, and you know it's going to be on a map somewhere.
Whole bunch of others. If your child does not have the right educational attainment level, well, maybe we'll knock on the door because maybe you're homeschooling. Maybe you're not doing right by the child. $224 million a year, by the way.
Let's go ahead. So they ship your jobs out, shut down the economy, raise the taxes on businesses so they can't hire you. And then you just become domesticated. And look, these social engineers know. That's why when you go to a park, they say don't feed the pigeons, don't feed the aquatic life, don't feed the squirrels, because they'll become domesticated and won't be able to take care of themselves. But when it comes to the general population, that's what they want. Let's go ahead and talk to Beth in Tennessee. Beth, give us your take on Obamacare and what you think of it.
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
I think Obamacare is a rape of the American citizen.
Let's review what the president said several...
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it, away from the fog of the controversy.
The fog is what's coming out of the Obama administration camp, what's coming out of Congress during that time that they ramrodded, that they force-fed this Obamacare bill down the throats of the American taxpayer. Let's be brutally honest. That's the fog. It's not Ted Cruz who was fighting against it. It's not any of the other lawmakers that were trying to stand up against it. It's the bill itself. It's an atrocity. And oh, by the way, there is microchip implantation in the bill.
Was signed by the president in 2010, and since then he has repeated one reassuring phrase.
If you like your insurance plan, you will keep it. No one will be able to take that away from you. It hasn't happened yet. It won't happen in the future.
But it is happening. The president's health care law raises the standards for insurance policies, which many consider to be a good thing. But hundreds of thousands of Americans whose policies don't meet the new standards are being told that their health plans are being canceled.
I mean, this has just begun, folks. But the cat is out of the bag. They knew that millions were not going to be able to do this. And all of us are going to be affected here, one way or another. This is a trap. And they are busted. Spread the word to anybody that's thinking about trying to buy this insurance on an individual basis here. Their premiums are going to go through the roof.
Now, one side in this campaign has been telling us that the issues of this election
are the maintenance of peace and prosperity. The line has been used, we've never had it so good.
I won't have to worry about putting gas in my car. I won't have to worry about paying my mortgage. You know, if I help him, he's going to help me.
But I have an uncomfortable feeling that this prosperity isn't something on which we can base our hopes for the future.
The key point I'm making right now is that the economy is moving in a positive direction.
And yet our government continues to spend $17 million a day more than the government takes in.
You're telling me we got to go spend money to keep from going bankrupt? The answer is yes, I'm telling you.
We've raised our debt limit 3 times in the last 12 months. And now our national debt is 1.5 times bigger than all the combined debts of all the nations of the world.
We're going to raise the debt limit. We always have. We will do it again.
We have $15 billion in gold in our treasury. We don't own an ounce.
I have been informed that the majority plans to block consideration of this amendment, which is number 1367, regarding the transparency at the Federal Reserve.
Foreign dollar claims are $27.3 billion.
It said that China has now surpassed Japan as the U.S. government's largest creditor, owning at least 10% of all U.S. debt, perhaps as much as $700 billion.
And we've just had announced that the dollar of 1939 will now purchase 45 cents in its total value.
President Obama is expected to face tough questions over the U.S. decision to pump $600 billion freshly printed dollars into its economy. Now, the move is an attempt to revive the country's finances, but will result in a devaluation of the dollar.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
We've got to give them a stake in creating the kind of world order that I think all of us would like to see.
And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours,
you'll construct a legal regime to make indefinite detention legal.
history will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers.
For some trips, it'll be faster than flying, without the pat down.
Anna was picked to go through. Pretty much everybody except the baby was picked to go through the scanner.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
Damn America, that's in the Bible.
Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
I've got a core set of values that I think have to be advanced, and that my individual salvation depends on our collective salvation.
You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down.
We had an election, and it was about a direction for our country.
And regardless of their sincerity, their humanitarian motives, those who would trade our freedom for security have embarked on this downward course. In this vote harvesting time, they use terms like the Great Society, or as we were told a few days ago by the President, we must accept a greater government activity in the affairs of the people.
E pluribus unum, out of many, one. In the end, that's what this election is about.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so.
A few months ago, we asked viewers, you, to suggest nicknames for President Obama. One viewer actually suggested Know Nothing Obama. We thought that probably wasn't entirely appropriate, but it turns out that that nickname may actually stick if the president keeps it up.
Gentleman from North Carolina is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to hopefully address some of the things that were just mentioned. We talk about a moral obligation, and truly it is troubling to me to hear so much talked about in terms of a moral obligation when my state, the state of North Carolina, is about to see the largest increase in insurance premium because of the Affordable Care Act in the country. When we talk about 27-year-olds that can purchase insurance today, Mr. Speaker, for $35 a month, and it goes to over $180 a month. What is morally right about that? I ask you, Mr. Speaker. You know, we've talked a whole lot in this chamber about the fact that there was a vote taken, that a president was elected. And indeed, we did elect a president a mere 9 months ago. But I want to remind you, Mr. Speaker, that I was also elected some 9 months ago. And we did not elect a dictator. We elected a president. We did not have a vote that did not elect representatives. It is time that the representatives start representing the people that they were elected to uphold and protect. You know, we've heard a lot in this chamber this evening about the government. The government this, the government that, the government. When do we start focusing on the people? Because it is the people who are losing jobs. It's the people who can't keep their insurance. It's the people whose insurance premiums are going up. It's the people who are losing their jobs and being cut back on hours to get part-time. It is time that we stop acting like loyal subjects and start acting like the representatives that we were voted into office to uphold and represent the people of this great country. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
What does this tell you? They're making moves. They bought all these billions of rounds of ammunition. They got the underwater body bags and the coffins and the FEMA camps, and they're spying on us and tapping every single thing we do. Now they're going for the food, the emergency food, and they're going for it now. And they want to know how quick can they get their hands on it.
Soon, states across the country are being told to stop the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program for the month of November, pending further notice.
Most people who are receiving food stamps are the working poor. 91% of recipients are actually people who, there's an income, but they are living below the poverty line. So it's not that they are sitting on their lanai just enjoying this wonderful, luxurious life that comes with food stamps. They are having troubles having the ends actually meet. And that's it.
Margaret Purvis from the Food Bank of New York City, the largest in the country, as we'll follow this vote in the coming days. Thanks so much.
Strategist Niger Innes says, like Greece, violence is a serious concern when entitlements are threatened. And Niger, I guess they're preparing for the worst. Should they be?
Well, this is really frightening. I mean, we are on a slow march to becoming Greece. You know, what this says more than anything is that when you have nearly 50 million Americans on food stamps that are forced to be on food stamps because of a miserable economy that big government is strangling, then you have a situation where it's obvious what government can give to you, government can take away.
want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world, millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate. Only the unloved hate. The unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery. Fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world, that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!